After Elsa's attack was suppressed and the Great Rabbit was defeated thanks to the new contract between Beatrice and Subaru, a whole year passed. Natsuki enjoys a fulfilling life, fooling around with Beatrice at his secret training ground, where he practiced his skills. At the same time, a messenger arrives, Joshua Jukulius and Mimi, with a letter from Anastasia Hoshin, a candidate for the royal selection. Introducing Subaru to the conversation, Emilia calls him her knight. Natsuki couldn't contain his joy, which puzzled the messenger. Joshua Jukulius is the younger brother of Julius Jukulius, and learning this, Subaru tried to hide his disappointment behind etiquette. He knew he owed Julius for saving him, but didn't want to admit it. During the conversation, Mimi and Garfield hit it off and agreed to have a snack together. Anastasia invited Emilia to a meeting in her city, Pristela, one of the 5 great cities of Lugunica. It turns out that she managed to find a magical crystal capable of containing a spirit. Before the trip, Subaru stops by Rem's side and tells her about the recent events. Accepting the invitation, the group sets out on their journey. During the trip, Otto tells Emilia about the current standings in the royal selection. Initially, Anastasia Hoshin and Duchess Krush Karsten were considered the top candidates, while the other contenders were seen as background players. However, public opinion has shifted. Emilia, with the help of the ruling forces, defeated the rabbit and the archbishop. Priscilla Bariel also gained popularity among the people. Meanwhile, Felt gathered talented individuals and initiated large-scale reforms. Krush Karsten's influence weakened after she lost her memory following the battle with the witches' cult. Among all the candidates, Hoshin remained the most stable, and by doing Emilia a favor, Anastasia could gain an advantage. The city itself is built in the middle of a lake, surrounded by high walls that protect it from the water. The city is a landmark and a trade hub. However, Subaru compares it to a prison. It later turns out that the city was indeed designed as a trap. Arriving at the assembly building, Natsuki compares it to a Japanese inn. When he meets Julius, he shows his displeasure. Meanwhile, Mimi takes Garfield to show him around. Hoshin explains that the crystal they need is held by the heir of the Muse Company, also known as the man whose heart was stolen by a diva, or possessed by the diva. Since Subaru was feeling seasick, he and Beatrice got off the boat. They also set out for the Muse Company on foot. On the way, they meet the bard Liliana Masquerade. Initially, Natsuki didn't like her singing, which caused the crowd to dislike him. However, after hearing Liliana's new song, Subaru changed his mind and even started singing along. Thus, Beatrice and the general got acquainted with the diva. They asked her to show them the way to Muse. Masquerade recognized Natsuki as the hero who, along with his allies, defeated powerful foes. Liliana decided to help Subaru in exchange for stories about his achievements. The singer rushed ahead to handle negotiations with Kiritaka. She barged in, but Natsuki tried to stop her by grabbing her, which made Kiritaka jealous. The deal fell through. During the journey, Emilia accidentally bumps into a white-haired stranger who clearly implies they will meet again in the future. Near the house, a group consisting of Garfield, Emilia, Beatrice, and Natsuki encounters a thief whom Subaru recognizes. The guy's name is Rakins. A fight almost breaks out, but Reinhard Van Astrea suddenly appears and gets caught in the middle, along with Garfield. Subaru and Reinhard are friends. The red-haired gentleman asks Natsuki to tell him the story of the white whale and introduces Rakins. The former thief now works for Lady Felt. Thus, Emilia's delegation, Krush, Wilhelm, the demon sword and Reinhard's grandfather, Reinhard, Felt, and Anastasia gather to discuss current matters. It turns out that Hoshin invited everyone under different pretexts. After the meeting, Garfield, upset by losing to Reinhard, decided to go for a walk. Meanwhile, the girls show off their new costumes to Subaru, who is overjoyed. It turns out everyone is getting along well with their assistants, which pleases the main character. At the same time, Garfield, left alone, suddenly begins to see someone he defeated earlier, Elsa Granhirt. However, their conversation is interrupted by Mimi, who says Tinsel is cool and drags him into a city walk, delighting in small things. While they were talking, one boat got loose and floated toward another boat where children were playing. Garf saved them. Together with Mimi, he decided to escort them home, and while talking to the last child and his sister, he suddenly saw his mother. Later that night, Wilhelm and Natsuki have a conversation. The old man acknowledges that pretty words won't impress his lady love, and he shares his story. In his youth, he preferred silence and focused all his attention on sword training. mastery of the sword was his life's purpose, and his wife helped him realize it. Gripping his sword, he thinks of her, as the weapon held special significance for them. Wilhelm remarked that during tough times, Subaru would find the strength to unite people, even if he felt like a failure. The man admitted he wanted to talk to his grandson as freely as he spoke with Natsuki. He regrets his foolishness. Consumed by revenge for his wife, he distanced himself from his grandson. Now, he lacks the courage to talk to Reinhardt. After hearing this, Subaru suggested that Reinhardt's interest in the battle with the white whale wasn't without reason, as it was Wilhelm's revenge for his grandmother. It's likely he also wants reconciliation. During their morning exercise, Felt and Reinhardt were noted to get along well, which irritated Felt, as she periodically gets annoyed by Reinhardt's behavior. During the gathering and breakfast preparations, they heard Liliana's ballad. Wilhelm decided to talk to his grandson and asked him to help with cooking. Unexpected guests arrived. Wilhelm's son, Heinkel Astrea, came in drunk, demanding Reinhardt's death. The man was unhappy about being left out and said that the grandfather and grandson weren't meant to get along. It turned out that he came with Priscilla Bariel. She wanted to create a complete rift between Reinhardt and his grandfather. Heinkel claimed that the entire Astrea estate would be his, and that his son would get nothing. However, Priscilla didn't like his revelations and nearly killed him with her sword. Julius spoke with Natsuki, telling him that if Heinkel rebelled, the kingdom might turn against the entire Astrea family, meaning both Wilhelm and Reinhardt would be considered enemies. Natsuki reminded Julius that he didn't always have to be the perfect knight. Sometimes, it was enough to just be Julius. On a walk, Subaru, Beatrice, and Emilia saw Priscilla dancing, with the diva accompanying her. The girls complimented each other. At the moment Subaru met Rachins at the town hall, on a tall tower stood someone named Sirius Romane Conti, trying to figure out if love existed in this world. She seemed to have hypnotized the crowd. Later, she displayed a bound boy, praising him for his bravery. The onlookers didn't seem to notice the stranger's oddness. Then, she threw the child from the tower. The surrounding psychopaths were beheaded. It turned out that this was a vision Subaru saw while he and Emilia were talking with Priscilla, and now it was starting to repeat in reality, with the same bells ringing in the town hall. Natsuki felt sick and almost vomited.